Hey gang, how everybody doing? I'm Dwayne. I want to welcome you to the first day of the ITF Plus course. Hopefully you're having a good day. If not, cheer up because life is good. Today we're going to be talking about operating systems. All right, so operating systems are simply what operates your system. So whatever you're watching this on, whether it's a mobile device, a cell phone, a laptop, or if you're on a PC, whatever is actually operating that device is going to be the operating system. Make sense? So this course is going to be about hardware, software, and different things that go into technology, right? So at the end of this course, you have a good foundation, a good base, and a good place to start in your IT career, all right? So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so operating systems. Like I just told you, operating system is nothing more than what operates your system. There's a couple of different variations of operating systems. We can have mobile or PC. So as far as mobile, we got iOS, and that's what's going to be running on all Apple products, right? So if you got a iPhone 10X, it's going to be running an iOS operating system. And once again, just for the people that feel that they are technically impaired, illiterate, so on and so forth. The operating system is just everything that you see on the screen. All right, it just helps you navigate from files, folders, and different applications. Okay. Next up is Android. That is what I use. I use Android. Not saying that iOS is worse or better. It's just what I've become comfortable with and is what I've been using for years. Next up, Windows. So not too long ago, Windows actually killed their phone. Windows tried to break into the phone market and just nobody was feeling it. Like nobody liked it, right? So Windows, you can still find Windows phones, but as far as new Windows phones coming out, as of right now, Bill and the rest of the team at Windows like, nah, that's not our lane. Now, the BlackBerry, also known as the Crackberry, is another operating system. Now, BlackBerry is kind of falling off in popularity, but it's coming back slowly but surely. But those are all the mobile devices, all right, or mobile operating systems. On PC, 9 times out of 10, if you're watching this, you're probably using a Windows operating system. Windows is the most popular operating system, period, right, around the world. Now, does that mean it's the best? Not necessarily, just depends. But it is the most popular, right? 9 times out of 10, if you go inside of an office environment, the operating system that you're going to be running into is going to be an operating system that's made by Windows. All right. Next up is Linux. Linux may be something that you've never heard of. Maybe it's something that you're familiar with. Maybe you heard of it, but don't really use it. Now, Linux, when it first came out, it was actually all command line. What that means is that instead of having a graphical user interface, like having graphics that you can actually see, it was just words. You would have to actually type in commands on the keyboard, press enter, and then whatever command that you ask the computer to do, it would do it, right? Now that was a bigger learning curve because it didn't have an operating system, didn't have pretty stuff for you to click. So Linux, for a while, people kind of didn't touch it, but now even Linux has graphical user interfaces, all right? So graphical user interfaces that you can do whatever you want to do with. Next up, Mac. That is, if you got a MacBook or any other Apple products, it's going to be using a Macintosh operating system. Last but not least, we got Chrome, and that's what's going to be running on Chromebooks. Make sense? Perfect. Let's keep on rocking. All right, so these are a couple different things that you need to be aware of when it comes to operating systems. So operating systems operate your system, and they're really, really important. Without them, you can't really use your device, right? So with that being said, we got patches, updates, service packs. So patches, if there's something wrong with the operating system, it'll actually fix any known vulnerabilities, right? Any vulnerabilities, any compatibility issues, right? Because all operating systems may not be compatible with all different programs and all different variations. So a patch will be put out if they know a known vulnerability or if they know that it's an application that's really popular that a lot of people use that this may not be compatible with. So a patch will be put out, and a patch isn't Like they don't mail it to you. It's not nothing physical. It will just be an update ran on your operating system. Okay? Updates, it's pretty self-explanatory. It is an update. So if you have a mobile phone, let's say that you're running version 1.1, when version 1.2 comes out and you keep on getting a message that says, hey man, you need to update, that will be you updating your operating system, all right, to current versions. Next up are service packs. All right, service packs, instead of just, okay, we know that there's a vulnerability and there's a compatibility issue, let's throw out 2 different patches. They can actually put both of those into a service pack with several other updates as well. So service packs are updates and patches all in one. So they just push out a service pack instead of pushing out separated patches and updates, okay? Service packs usually take a lot longer to download and update than just separate updates and patches. Sound good? Perfecto. All right, so let's go a little bit deeper into different operating systems. All the way on the right, we got Apple. In the middle, we got Windows. Little penguin is going to be Linux. All right, let's go a little bit deeper about these operating systems. So, what does this describe? It's a proprietary operating system used by Apple. OS X introduced in 2002 and has gone through many changes over the years. So, proprietary, that's a really big word that just means that you can only use this software, this product, with the same kind of products. So something that's proprietary, something that's made by Apple, can only be used with Apple products. Something that's made by Microsoft can only be used with Microsoft products. Proprietary, right? If it's something that's proprietary, you can only use it with certain products and certain devices, right? So we're talking about Mac OS. All right, Mac OS is Macintosh operating system, and it's used for Apple products, okay? All right, so user-friendly, right? User-friendly. Something being user-friendly kind of depends on, are you used to using it, right? Some people may say, oh, Mac isn't user-friendly just because they've grown up using Windows. That's the only thing they've known since they were a kid. The first computer that they used was a Windows computer. If you hear my puppy in the background, don't worry about it. The UPS drivers out there, and they got a rivalry, that's his nemesis. I don't know what the UPS man did to him, but he does not like that guy. Anyway, all right, so it uses a file system, right? Every operating system uses a file system. Simply put, a file system is literally how the files and folders are organized inside of your network or inside your operating system, okay? So we're not going to get too deep into this because we know this is a surface level, right? So we don't want to get too deep. We just want to understand and have a little bit of knowledge about each operating system. Make sense? Fantastic. Next up, this is a small little picture of what the Mac OS X user interface actually looks like, and I got a little treat for you. Later on, we're going to actually go through a tour of a Windows 7 operating system, or just a Windows operating system. The reason I chose Windows is because, like I said, it's the most popular, and in a business environment or in your environment, you're probably either using a Microsoft computer or you've used one before. All right, so that's why we're going to focus on Microsoft. All right, so in Mac OS, the default web browser is Safari. All right, so that's a little bit of a difference. You can use FaceTime. I'm pretty sure you're used to that. FaceTime is just like Skype. It's just a video conference, right? So I'm talking to you, blah, 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 blah. You can see my face. I can see your face. What's something else I want to hit on? Terminal. Just like I was saying, inside of Linux, you have a command line. Inside of Mac OS, you also have a command line as well. You can type in commands. Whatever you type, that command will be executed, okay? Boot camp. So Boot camp is pretty cool because that's actually a type of software that allows you to run Windows on a Macintosh computer. Now, don't want to blow your mind, right? But it's just real simple. So it's virtually you're able to run Windows. So it's kind of like a play computer, a play environment. a test environment, right? So you have a Macintosh computer, but you can run Windows stuff on it, okay? Boom, that's all we need to talk about on this. Next up, got the little penguin. So it says a free open source operating system. So, remember we talked about proprietary? This is open source, which means that you can do whatever you want with it, all right? So, proprietary means you can only use certain products with certain devices, right? And that's what Macintosh is. That is commercial, right? It is commercial and free source. Commercial, free source. Macintosh is commercial. Linux is open source. So it's free and open source. Macintosh, you're not supposed to do anything with the code. The code is the underlying heartbeat, the underlying blood of the operating system. You can't actually change around anything inside the code for the operating system. You can't change and rearrange things inside the operating system without breaking rules from Macintosh and getting in trouble if they find out you did anything to their operating system. All right. So a lot of those super long things that say just check the box if you agree, a lot of that is inside of there. Hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. And Linux, you don't have to worry about that. The operating system is open source. If you want to customize it, if you want to do anything extra, you can. A couple different versions that are popular for Linux is Ubuntu, Red Hat, and a few others. Now, when we talk about Linux, when they talk about distributions or variations of the operating system, they say flavors instead of versions. All right. All right, so we already talked about this. Linux, three main GUIs. That's what we were talking about earlier, graphical user interface. So GUI, GUI, graphical user interface, is literally, if you can see the graphics on the screen. Why the hell did I take off my glasses? I was trying. Anyway, if you can actually see the graphics on the screen, then you are using a GUI interface. All right, so the Linux operating system still has the power of the command line, where you can do a lot of different things inside of the command line, but also it has become a lot more user-friendly by incorporating a graphical user interface. All right. Okay, supports file system used on Microsoft and Apple machines, and this also has a file system as well. All right. So, well, like I said before, a file system is just how things are organized on your computer. And a volume is just a space. So it says supports volumes up to 1 exabyte, which is really big, all right? Which is really, 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 really big, all right? Not 1 terabyte, but 1 exabyte, all right? All right, so now we're going to talk about Windows operating systems. So Windows operating systems, which we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go through, it's about a 10-minute, I'm going to go through, it's like 15 minutes. Go through a tour, click this, click that, show you everything that you may not be familiar with, or thing that you may be familiar with, and I'll just explain what it is. All right. So, in a Windows environment, you have 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. You have 32-bit and 64-bit applications and software. All right. So, a 32-bit limited to 4 gigabytes of RAM. It is unable to run 64-bit programs. So if you're new to technology, new to different things, and you have a Windows operating system, if you're buying software, make sure that it's compatible with the version of Windows that you have, right? If you have a 32-bit operating system and you buy a 64-bit piece of software, it's not going to work on the 32-bit. Now, the reverse of that, which is kind of cool, if you have a 64-bit operating system, it can not only run 64-bit applications, but it can also run 32-bit applications. All right, so we're not going to get too deep into that, but just understand two variations. We got 32-bit and 64-bit. 32-bit can't run 64-bit stuff, but 64-bit stuff can run 64 and 32. Make sense? Fantastic. All right, so the Windows structure. So when you get inside of Windows, this is what the structure is. The first thing, which says C, is the drive that you're on. All right. So if you're on the D drive, it's going to say D. If you're on the C drive, it's going to say C. Then everything after that is going to be pretty much your breadcrumbs, right? So if you were looking for program files, you would go to C drive, program files, right? If you were looking for a specific file inside of there, it would say C/programs file / the file or the folder name that you were looking for. Make sense? Great. So this is what it looks like. If you were looking for a specific user, you could go to Computer, C drive, Users. You were looking for somebody named Chris Francie. Bam, there he is, or there the folder is. Make sense? So Windows structure is just like that. So if it's on the D drive, E drive, all right, so it's this little breadcrumb just to figure out, okay, this is exactly where it's at. So we go from the back to the front. C Francie is inside the users folder, which is on the C drive, which is on my computer. Okay? All right, so Windows gadgets. So if you never used them before, it may seem cool from the outside looking in. Gadgets are just things that are shortcuts that you don't have to actually click or do anything with. So instead of having to double click something or open something, as soon as you turn on your computer, as soon as your operating system comes up to your login screen, you have gadgets on your desktop. You can have gadgets for sports scores, for news, weather, CPU performance, so on and so forth. The only thing that kind of sucks about gadgets is each one of those gadgets, whether it's a calendar, a puzzle picture, a slideshow, videos, highlights, all of that is draining on your CPU. All right, all that stuff is draining on your CPU. And if you don't know what your CPU is like your brain. Super important, right? So it's kind of like somebody asks you to do 5 things, right? Somebody asks you to do 5 things as soon as you wake up. It's like literally as soon as you open your eyes up, it's like, okay, I need you to clean the car, I need you to take the trash out, I need you to do 30 push-ups, I need you to run down the block, and I need you to eat these waffles. I don't know what, I think those waffles, I think I said that because I'm a little hungry, but that's all right. All right, so just imagine that. And that's kind of what your CPU is going through. Your brain can't really register all that stuff at the same time. Or the CPU is going to be like, okay, I'm going to focus on opening this stuff up because this is what, this is what's supposed to happen as soon as the computer comes on. So instead of you, being able to open the internet or do other things that may take a longer time because the CPU and the operating system is having to open up all this other stuff. Makes sense? So I would suggest don't run any gadgets, all right, just so it doesn't drain on your CPU. Windows Defender. So I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about cybersecurity and security and identity theft and viruses and stuff like that. This is something that's embedded inside of Windows operating system, all right, to try and get rid of different types of things that you don't want on your computer, right? So in our courses, we get a lot deeper in this in A+, especially like in CAS or Security Plus, but this is just a surface level thing, okay, just to get you an understanding. So Windows Defender, just so we put things in context, it kind of sucks. It sucks a little bit, just a little bit. Windows Defender kind of doesn't defend against anything, but the primary purpose of it is to detect spyware. All right, so you guys are super smart. What do you think spyware does? Easy. Spyware is software that's built to spy on you, right? So if you go to a weird website and you download some spyware that you don't know about, it's going to spy on you. So it's going to see, okay, when he went on Bank of America, he put in this username and this password. When she went on TurboTax, this is what her password was, so on and so forth, right? So Windows Defender is supposed to scan for potential threats and detect spyware. Now, it's better than nothing, but if you're looking for something that's got a little bit more oomph, I would try maybe Norton or Symantec or some Malwarebytes or just something else that kind of has everything in one, where it can detect viruses, spyware, and things like that. Make sense? Great. System restore. So System Restore is something that's super cool too, right? So System Restore is pretty much saving your entire computer. Not saving a file, not saving a folder, but saving the actual state of your entire computer. So right now, if your computer is running great, running fantastic, you can create a restore point. If you play video game, it's kind of like a checkpoint, right? So you can save right now, and let's say if a week from now you get a virus, or a week from now your computer's acting kind of buggy and not really working the way it used to, you can actually restore it to a point, an earlier point, to when your computer was working the way you wanted it to. Okay? Make sense? Great. Next up, this is another cool thing that comes inside of Windows operating systems, and it's called Ready Boost. So if you have a removable USB drive, right? So a removable USB flash drive is just a small little drive that you can store information on. It may be a couple megabytes, it may be a couple gigabytes, right? But it's a removable piece of hardware that you can actually place inside of your computer, save stuff, move to another computer, import, export, do whatever you need to do, right? So we're going to get a little bit deeper into hardware in the next lecture, but what was I saying? Oh, USB USB flash drives. So the flash drives, you can actually use the space, right? The user space is on those flash drives to actually speed up your computer. All right, there's something inside of your PC, inside of your cell phone, inside of your laptop called RAM, right? So that RAM actually speeds up processes inside your device, right? So the more RAM you have, theoretically, the faster your device will be, right? So if you have a 4 gigabyte or 2 gigabyte flash drive, you can actually plug that inside of your device and actually use the space that's on that device as additional RAM. All right, if this doesn't make sense right now, don't worry about it. Over time, it'll make sense, but hopefully it does make sense right now. All right, gang. So that was actually the last slide. Hopefully you enjoyed your first day in class. We're going to be going through probably several hours of material, but it's going to be broken out. So every couple of days, I'll upload another lecture going through different things. If you have completed the entire course, or even if you say, okay, this is a little bit too novice level for me, you can head over to itmasterkey.com and get into some more in-depth course as far as A+, Net+, Security+, CAS+, Linux+, CCNA, CEH, and we have career coaching over there as well. If you like this, I would appreciate it if you comment, like, subscribe, and share. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and we also have a podcast that's across all platforms. Other than that, I'll see you in class.
Hey gang, welcome to day one. And to start off today, I actually want to give you guys a quick little tour of a Windows 10 machine. That picture right there is a picture of a car that I love, the Monte Carlo, but nobody cares about that. That's not why you're here. So let's go ahead and go through this quick little tour of the Windows 10. So Windows 10 was an upgrade from Windows 8. Windows 8 was not a fan favorite. It's not going to be on anybody's top 5 as far as operating systems go. The Windows 8 was primarily supposed to be for tablets, but they tried to move it over to PCs and it didn't work out too well. But this is Windows 10. It's a lot smoother and most people like it. So first thing, we're going to go down here and go to the start menu. And Windows 8, it was actually hard to even find a start menu. So it was a really big change from what people were used to. So you click on the start menu, and this is kind of where it was a mixture, which is kind of cool. It was a mixture of some of the stuff that was in Windows 8 and upgrade to Windows 10. So this would be kind of the Windows 8 portion. So you got like tabs that would be more for a mobile device like a tablet or a phone. So these are actual little apps. Now, over here is a list of all of the programs that are currently on this machine. Cool thing is this start menu, right? We can actually, let's say the calculator. Let's say I wanted the calculator to be on the taskbar. So the taskbar is down here. This is the taskbar. So I got all the little stuff that I use all the time on my taskbar. So let's say I wanted the calculator on my taskbar. I can actually right click it I could pin it to start, which would pin it in here so I can find it easily, or I could pin it to the taskbar. So if I click it, boom, it pops up on the actual taskbar. Pretty cool, pretty easy to navigate. Now, what I want us to actually look at is settings. So if we go over here to this little gear icon, which on most operating systems, most applications, most things in general, a little gear is going to get you to settings. So let's click on that. And this will get us to most of the things that we're going to be dealing with. So if we go to system, we can control things such as display, sound, notifications that we get, email notifications, so on and so forth. So let's click on that. And here inside this actual tab, we can go over display, sound, notifications. Just like this, the sound, you can actually choose which speakers you would have, right? So let's say we had integrated speakers. We can actually move those to some external speakers if we was using those. And then this small little thing, since I have a microphone plugged in, as I'm talking to you guys, it's showing me, okay, how loud I'm actually speaking. We got notifications, storage, which is just going to be the hard drive. So I got 487 gigabytes used out of 930. Tablet mode, you probably never use this, and most of the time it's set up automatically to use the appropriate mode for my hardware. So since it knows that I'm using a PC, it won't actually switch over to tablet mode. I've never needed to use tablet mode. I tried using it one time, wasn't a fan. Projecting the PC, so if you actually had a projector, you wanted to cast it onto a projector or cast it to a TV or stuff like that, you can actually do that as well. Remote desktop. So remote desktop is something that's actually used on different versions of Windows operating systems. So this is a Windows Home version, and we're actually going to go over the versions as well. But on Windows Professional, Windows Enterprise, you can actually use remote desktop, which actually will allow you to remote into other PCs. All right. So that was system. We saw the things that were in there. Then in devices, pretty simple. It'll show us the Bluetooth devices that we have connected. So I got a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard. This blue snowball is actually my microphone. Then I got a couple Fire Sticks plugged up. So this is where all your devices can be found. Then we got printers. I got a printer hooked up, fax machines, so on and so forth. We actually find that inside of devices. Then if we go to phone, you can actually link your Android or iPhone. I don't have my phone linked, but if you wanted to, you could. Network and internet, we can go through the Wi-Fi options, internet options. So I paid my cable bill, so I'm connected to the internet. It says Ethernet, so that's actually wired internet instead of Wi-Fi. Dial-up, if you're using dial-up, you're having a rough day. You're having a really rough day if you're using dial-up. But we know dial-up, instead of using the actual Ethernet cable to get onto the internet, you're actually going to be using your telephone line. All right, and any of you guys have been around for a little while. There was two things that you couldn't do when you were on dial-up. That was use the phone and be on the internet at the same time. A VPN, this is something that we can actually use to actually cover up what we're doing. Well, yeah, cover up what we're doing. So a VPN, right? A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. What a VPN does, it actually encrypts the traffic. So it encrypts the information. It encrypts what you're actually doing. And encryption is just a big word that means that it makes it unreadable to people that you don't want to be able to read the information. So a lot of times if you're using different things, or if you're on a network that you don't trust, you can actually use a VPN and actually encrypt the information on your network. All right, so everything that you're sending, people won't be able to see. So that's a network and internet. Personalization, just like I got these pictures of Monte Carlos in the background. You can put pictures of your certifications when you get them, so on and so forth. So you see what the lock screen looks like. So when you actually lock the computer, you can have a generic little picture, or you can upload pictures. They have different themes. So you have flowers, windows, or you can actually create a theme or download more themes from Microsoft. Then it has what's actually shown on the start menu, which is pretty cool, and then the taskbar as well. So mine's, I got it for automatically hide the taskbar. That way I can just see everything. So when I go down, it'll pop up, go away. Pop up, go away. So that's pretty cool. Then let's go back. And apps is pretty self-explanatory. If you got any apps, any extra stuff, anything that you're doing, you can find it inside of apps and features. Accounts. So this is where we can actually create an account, manage our account, so on and so forth. So we got email and app accounts. So this is where we can actually add another account. So we had another account, we can add it, we can create another account, so on and so forth. And another thing, this right here is sync your settings. So when you sync your settings, it actually will show your settings across every device. So every device, it'll actually be the same across every device. All right, so let's get out of here. Time and language, that's pretty self-explanatory. You can change the time, change your language. Gaming, if you're doing some gaming, you can go in there. But the last two things I want to talk about is ease of access. This is one cool thing. It actually makes it easier for people if you have any kind of disability, whether it's you're hearing impaired, visually impaired, you can make text bigger, you can make things louder, you can make things softer, you can turn on closed captioning, you can actually use speech instead of the keyboard, so you can actually talk things out instead of actually having to type things out. And then there's another thing where you can actually control it with your eyes. Now, this right here, I've used it before, and it's just like it says beta, which means that it's still in the process, still not as best as it could be. It's better than nothing, but it's not too good. Then it got a narrator as well to actually read things out to you, so it's pretty cool. So ease of access is just for something to make it easier for if you have any kind of impairments. Update and security. So this is where we would go for Windows Update. As you can see, I need an update to be installed. Now, what'll happen is it'll remind you, like, hey man, you need to download this stuff. Hey man, you need to update your computer. And then eventually, you can keep on postponing it, but eventually it'll make you update it. All right, so if it's a critical update, it'll make you actually update your system. And usually when it makes you update your system, it's at the worst time. So just make sure you update it in the middle of the night or whenever you want to do it, just so it's not at a time when you actually are on a computer. So that's what this is right here. So change the active hours. So I said the active hours are from 8 to 5 anytime. Actually need to change this probably. But 8 to 5 anytime after this, it can actually update it. So the best way to do it is probably, let me do it right now. So the active hours are until 12 a.m. Then, so it has a window from pretty much 12:01 a.m. to 7:59 a.m. to actually download whatever updates I need. Let's see what else. Windows security. So on here, this is where you can get virus protection, device security, so on and so forth. So an update and security is where you go for Windows Update to set up what updates you need, when it's going to actually update, and then security, just actually securing your devices and your actual operating system. Now, last thing I want to show you is Cortana. So Cortana is pretty cool because it's kind of like Siri, or it's kind of like the application on Androids or Alexa, where you say, hey Alexa, and then you can ask a question, or you say, hey Siri, what's the fastest somebody ever ran ever? All right, and then Siri tries to answer that for you. So Cortana does the same thing. Just like this, I have it turned off, but there's an application where if you turn it on, you say, hey Cortana, and then you can ask it, hey Cortana, open up Windows Media Player. Hey Cortana, open up Google Chrome. Hey Cortana, what's this, what's that? And it's actually a digital assistant just for you. Now, we went through all of these settings really quick. One other thing I want to show you guys is something called Microsoft Management Console. And then this is actually Cortana right here. This is Cortana right here. This is some stuff that people are asking. But what I want to show you is MMC. So MMC is the Microsoft Management Console. And the Microsoft Management Console actually has snippets inside of it. This right here is UAC, User Account Control. So User Account Control is a added layer of security for guests as well as administrators. And it just says, hey man, are you sure you want to do this? So if you're deleting something, if you're installing something, it just makes sure that whatever action you're taking is the action that you actually want to take. So bam, this is the Microsoft Management Console. So let's go here, we go to File, and then we can go to Add, Remove, Snap-in. So snap-ins are just things that we can actually manage. So here is where we actually can add and remove users. Since this isn't a domain computer, and we're gonna get into the difference between local computers and domain computers. Since this is just a local computer, I would only be able to add, okay. That makes sense. All right, so I'll only be able to add users and groups to this local computer, if that makes sense. Now, if it was a domain, I can actually add users and groups to the domain. But these are all snap-ins. So Task Scheduler, Windows Defender, so on and so forth. So I'm actually underneath a guest account, so that's why it wouldn't let me add this snap-in. But no big deal. You understand. So we're actually going to get into this a little bit deeper later on, but just understand that the Microsoft Management Console is where we can do a lot of things. So this is like an administrative tool. We can actually go to the event viewer, see what people are doing. We can go to performance monitor. We can go to task scheduler, so on and so forth. And another thing that's cool is it gives you a small little description of what it actually is. So task scheduler, schedule computer tasks to run automatically. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is the actual admin tools. So let's say administrative tools. Another cool thing about Windows 10, if you want to upgrade, update, install, download, uninstall, if you pretty much start typing anything inside of here, it's going to pop up with whatever you're looking for. It's going to pop up. So let's go to administrative tools and look at a few of those. So we got computer management, where we manage our computer, defragment. So defragment is when we actually defrag the hard drive and speed things up. We got performance monitor, so on and so forth. Last thing I want to show you guys is device manager. So we can actually manage all of our devices. So this right here is device manager. So it's got our audio inputs, computer, keyboards, mice, monitors. So let's open up the monitor. So this is the monitor and this is the type of monitor. So I got an AOC 2436. If we right click it, we can disable device, uninstall device, or update the driver. Now, a lot of times when you have issues with a device, it's a driver issue. So if you got a out-of-date driver, if you got an incompatible driver, it'll actually mess up the way that the device actually works. So a lot of times we update the driver, it'll actually fix it. Or if we install the correct driver. All a driver is software that actually tells the PC or the laptop or whatever you're using, hey man, this is a monitor, this is how it works. Hey man, this is a mouse, this is how it works. All right, and then when I say hey man, I'm not talking about you, it's the devices talking to each other. So anytime you plug in anything, a lot of times now it's plug and play, which means that the drivers and the software and everything are download without you having to do anything. So a lot of times when you plug in something that says give it a minute, initializing or downloading softwares or downloading drivers, that's what it is. A driver is just software that tells the PC or the laptop, this is what I am and this is how we work together. Give you guys one last peek. This might be for myself. Let's see what Monte Carlo was up now. Kabam. All right, gang, so this is a really quick tour of the Windows operating system. After this, you're going to actually go through a lecture. We're going to go through some of the things that we saw right now. And the reason I gave you guys this quick tour is because I don't want to be going through the lecture and then I'm talking about topics and things that you've never seen before. And the cool thing is most of you guys are probably using a Windows 10 operating system. So there's two different interfaces on a Windows 10 operating system, and then we're gonna go straight into the lecture after this. So this is called the GUI. We got stuff we can click, we got stuff that we can see is pretty. We got the GUI, the graphical user interface. And then we got another interface called the command line interface. So if we type in CMD or command prompt, boom, it'll come up. So this is the command line interface, right? This is the graphical user interface. So there's graphics, things we can see. Command line, this is pretty much how things were when computers first came out. You type in a command and then it'll give you the desired effect. All right, so let me give you an example. So ping is a command. Ping is a command that we can use for connectivity. So we can ping google.com. So ping is just a command that tells you, hey, you have connectivity. All right, so ping, it pretty much just sends a message and say, hey man, can you hear me? Did you get it? And then it'll send a reply back and say, yeah, we got it. And if you get 4 replies back, then it means that everything's okay. But this is a little bit more advanced. Just want to show you guys this. But like I said, this was a quick little tour of the Windows operating system for Windows 10. Right after this, we're going to go into a lecture, go a little bit deeper. And other than that, I'll see you in class.